You're very good.
Okay.
Thanks for your support on all this.
Oh, thank you. Is this on? Thank you.
Is it last day?
We may be just working with the owl. Rex was in here earlier.
So it's not working? Because,
The other ones were working, I don't know.
You want a hand microphone?
none of the microphones are working.
They weren't working before, and then he got them working in one hour or something.
Was yours working?
Yeah, he tapped all of them, they were all working about 10 minutes ago.
Is yours working?
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Is yours working?
All right, bye. We're gonna have to do it without those mics. The ceiling mics will get it. He can't make those work tonight.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it will be recorded in the ceiling microphones throughout the boardroom.
Okay, just, okay, let's start. Good evening. We'll call the special meeting for Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023 to order at 6:04 p.m. So thank you all for being here. This is had been a long day for some of the board members. We've attended 2 graduations. I want to congratulate Coronado Cougars, seniors that graduated earlier this morning and this afternoon, Mitchell Marauders. Exciting times to watch our high school seniors walk up that stage and receive their diploma. And we look forward to 2 more graduations tomorrow, the Palmer Terrors and Doherty Spartans. We are also having some technical issue with the microphones in the boardroom today, so I request the board members to speak a little loudly. I think it's supposed to still capture it, but for the people that are seated in the audience, if you talk a little bit louder, it'll be a little bit easier to hear. With that, Kathy, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Present.
Director Daniels?
Present.
Director Jorgensen?
Present.
Director Loma?
Here.
Director Malpacum?
Here.
Director Nelson?
Here.
Director Ott?
Present.
So we have all 7 board members in attendance today, 6 of them in person, and Director Bankus is joining us remotely. Please join me as we observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Director Loma, can you please make the motion to adopt the agenda?
I move, no, that's the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I move that the Board of Education adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Kathy, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The agenda has been adopted as presented. So since this is a special meeting, we are moving directly into the action items of the board action and non-item action items that are there on the board agenda. The first action item is resolution 2023-34, approval of agreement between the Board of Education and Colorado Springs Education Association, CSEA. Director Nelson, can you please make the motion for action item D1?
I move that the Board of Education approve the agreement between the Board of Education and the Colorado Springs Education Association, Resolution 23-34.
Second.
2023, sorry, I said that wrong. 2023-34.
Perfect.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. So this is a new item, superintendent call. I will turn it over to you, and looks like we have Chief Bailey up here.
Yeah, and just, I'll just do a quick preface for the three of these actions that will come forward, and thank the board and all our employee representative groups for the collaborative effort, and really for getting to a space where we matched our finances to our strategy. I think any line that you pull out of any one of these resolutions and the budgets that will come forthcoming at the next board meeting for approval will be suggestive of the district moving with great clarity on disrupting the inequities that have existed in our system for a very long time on behalf of our students and as our employees as the lever for that change. Chief Bailey, Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Superintendent Gall, President Malpacum, and Board Directors. We come before you to, as district representatives of the board in negotiations with Colorado Springs Education Association for the interest-based bargaining process. We would like for you to know that it was a very collaborative process. We started this process in January with an actual training session, and then we were on pause until we started negotiations the beginning of March, the first week in March. And we have completed the process with the ratification of the contract between the Board of Education and Colorado Springs Education Association last night or early this morning, 9-1. Okay? All right. Resolution 2023-34, compensation that was agreed to, effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year. There will be a 5% increase to the salary schedule to support early career educators. BA Step 1 salary will start at $50,000 and progress at lane and step specific increments up to $52,500 to include every salary cell less than that amount. Effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year, eligible teachers will receive one-step movement on the STEP system. This is approximately a 2% increase. Teachers will receive a 6% non-recurring compensation payment paid in 2 equal installments. The payments will occur in the fall and spring semester during the 2023-24 school year and are intended to be para-includable compensation. Academic credits will be funded. 14 and 25-year service increments will be funded for eligible teachers. The district will continue contributing the employer's share of para. Master agreement changes. The following is a summary of all proposed changes to the master agreement. By resolution, the board adopts the changes as noted. Article 1, recognition, no changes. Article 2, general provisions, no changes. Article 3, association rights, no changes. Article 4, teachers' rights, no changes. Article 5, Board of Education rights, no changes. Article 6, negotiating procedures, joint council, no changes. Article 7, grievance procedure, no changes. Article 8, vacancies and change of assignments, no changes. Article 9, leaves. D6, bereavement leave. A teacher shall be granted 3 days of bereavement leave with pay in the event of the death of an immediate family member as defined in 9A7, paid bereavement leave. Days need not be taken consecutively if an employee needs additional time for bereavement beyond that granted by this provision. The employee may use accumulated sick leave or personal leave. Article 10, teaching conditions. The school calendar determines these days during which a teacher is required to perform assigned duties without special compensation. The school year will be based upon the calendar with the understanding that the school calendar is subject to emergency changes, but that such changes shall not affect the total number of work days required, that is 187 days, and up to 3 additional days for teachers new to the district. Yeah.
Article
11, professional rights and responsibilities.
Keep talking to the mic,
There is no microphone, it's not working.
Microphone?
It's picking.
on the mic.
Microphone is not working.
Oh, that was not working either?
No, none of the microphones are working.
So just speak.
I'm good at that. Professional rights and responsibilities. Intentional professional development, learning and training. D1, district specific. The district shall prioritize the development and communication of the district's professional development plan to schools, may develop their professional development, learning, and training plan for the upcoming school year. Every effort will be made to publish this intentional professional development, learning, and training plan by the last student contact day for the upcoming school year. It is understood that parts of the plan may be influenced by components outside our control, and these changes will be communicated. 2, school-specific. Each school will collaboratively develop an outline of an intentional professional development, learning, and training plan, training, professional, in parentheses, training, professional learning, professional development, or parentheses, see appendix, by the end of the one planned symposium for the upcoming school year. These individual school plans will be finalized in the early fall and provided to staff. These plans can be reviewed and amended as needed. Any revisions will be communicated. Building level professional development days will be aligned to one plans and collaborative school initiatives. 3, at the district and or building level, a reasonable effort will be made to provide the opportunity to attend a makeup training to recover the missed learning. Article 12, teacher development evaluation, no change. Article 13, student discipline, no change. Article 14, salaries, contact days, a lot was scrubbed. Do I read scrubbed?
No,
Okay,
just the
No.
new language.
all right, new language.
Chief, Bailey, are we going to read all the changes in the resolution? Is that,
Yes, and all the resolutions, just the changes,
okay,
correct.
is there a lot of red language? I'm just wondering if that's going to take us a while to read all the language.
Is that what we normally do?
Yes, that's what we normally do.
We got a lot of work done.
No, I mean, I don't remember you reading all of the changes back to us last year, like all of the actual detail. I mean, but is that common practice?
Superintendent's preference. So what would Mr. Gall?
I think to adopt as posted,
Yes.
Okay,
unless there are any specific questions from board members to language as posted and reviewed.
The reason I'm saying is when I scroll down to the page 8 and 9, the whole page is redlined. So are we going to read all of that language in there?
that's the new
Post-employment.
retirement deadlines, and that would apply to all 3 employee groups. The new dates.
I know, are we
Okay.
reading all that language is all I'm asking.
Yes, but Superintendent Gall said that we
As
will
posted.
just, yes,
Okay.
and so therefore we will just read the compensation.
Perfect.
1425, okay, here we go.
Well, he's adopted it, so maybe your time to speak. So, the board has agreed to adopt all language as written in the resolution. So therefore, we will have words from CSEA on behalf.
Well,
The
Thank you,
teachers.
and Mr. Watson, thank you for being here too. And it's not that we don't want to go through this language step by step, but the board has reviewed all these languages in executive session, and it's all posted on board docs for our community and our staff to review. So in the interest of prioritizing time and, so that's why this is language that has been reviewed, but we do appreciate all the work that you guys have put in. Back to you, Mr. Watson.
I agree with you 100%. That 9 pages represents a lot of reading. I read to kids every day. I'm fine with not reading to adults. That work represents a lot of collaborative practice between both the district and the association. The teammates that we had and that we worked with this year, I mean, wow. The things that we accomplished because we worked together. We found common ground. The people that were involved on the administration team understood their part, the teachers understood their part, and we worked together to make some really great changes. And I just can't say how thrilled we are that you guys heard the voices of all of our teachers that showed up and represented in numbers. Both association and non-association, retired and community members stood up and said, hey, teachers deserve fair compensation. We truly appreciate that. Again, I invite you, please send a couple board members to the table. I've negotiated across the table with board members and superintendents before. It makes the process much more friendly, less conflictory on a public scale and on the outside. We can work together. We've demonstrated that. We've demonstrated that we can make a difference together for our teachers and for our students. And our teachers stood up and showed you how much they care. And we appreciate everything this year.
Would you like to introduce those in the audience?
Those in the audience, yes, I would. Adrian Propsom, one of the bargaining team members, of course, Joe Schott, and Darren back there in the back, Darren Joyner. And I'm gonna bring 2 more next year from my old bargaining teams and veterans. I'd love to see 2 more from you guys, and preferably from the board, because we can work together, we really can. Did I miss anybody? I didn't miss anybody, good, just checking. Not usually this empty. Cool, thank you.
Thank you for that feedback, Mr. Watson, and I'm sure the board will take that into consideration. And that was the same feedback you provided me when we were, I participated the last day or so, when I was listening in on the conversation about the conversation, you mentioned the same thing to me, that board participation will make this process a lot more efficient, and board will certainly take that into consideration going forward. Thank you. With that, I'm going to, I can't see, okay, you guys can punch in, I can see it, but I can't turn anything on. And then if you can pull this thing and then pull the previous one that we had, that's easier to read, the summary page, which, no, not that one, the previous one, yep. Yep, and if you can pull it up a little bit, Ms. Onley. By the way, I want to thank Ms. Onley stepping in. This was a special meeting that was called, and Ms. Melissa Olson, the regular board secretary, she already took this week as vacation, knowing that we are going to be in graduation week. So thank you, Ms. Onley, and Ms. Toole too, for stepping up and helping us in the last minute. Jason, Director Jorgensen.
We've been hanging out so much, we've gotten a little informal. Just a couple brief remarks. When we looked at where we could get teacher starting salary to 50,000 with the overlay piece and the collaboration of that becoming a reality, that was huge for me. Very competitive in the district. With our district compared to other districts was a phenomenal push that I'm so thankful to see came through and finalized. And I'd heard from a few teachers just for, who had questions still about, the overlay and all that, and hopefully we got most of it sorted out for folks. If not, please let us know. We'll answer it for you, or your board representation can answer it for you as well. But one of the comments I heard was, when we're, giving dignity to the younger staff, we're filling positions, and in that process, we're on the backside hopefully alleviating some of the stressors of our existing staff who have covered for classes, taken their plans, things like that. So it's a twofold benefit that I see right off the bat of, hey, we're gonna fill some positions, we're gonna raise pay at the starting piece here, and then we're gonna hopefully take some of that load and burden off of our existing staff who have done a phenomenal job in covering multiple pieces and capacities throughout the year. So kudos to both parts of the team. Very excited with this, and happy that we could deliver such a strong package for our side and for taking care of staff. So thanks so much for everybody that negotiated.
Director Loma.
Well, I appreciate the net result of the collaboration. But it was kind of strange because, we came in this board with the intent of taking care of our teachers. That's what we wanted to do. But I got some emails accusing the board of not wanting to pay and trying, I said we want cheaper, not young and younger instead of more experienced, all kinds of what I call malarkey. It was really surprising. And then I told them, I don't know where you're getting this from. but we wanna make our teachers the highest paid in the region. And then the response from several, I'm talking not one or two, I'm talking about half a dozen at least, was, well, why are you against the union? I go, I don't know where you got that from. But there was a narrative out there that we were against the union or against the teachers, and so it kind of struck me as wrong, being that we're in an IBB process. What I found is that the negotiation left the IBB process, it was no longer IBB, and that was on your side. And that was just really troubled me, because I knew we wanted to give raises, but you know, when you have walkouts and people saying that the board is against the teachers, which is a lie. And so that troubled me. So to hear that you're collaborative, you know, here it was great. I think, you know, that's great. But to see the emails that came in accusing us of not wanting to appreciate teachers, and then having the Doherty walkout, it doesn't mesh with what I see. I'm glad we got to this, but it just doesn't mesh. And so that's the one thing that disconcerting. I am glad that we raised the starting pay of teachers, because that's what we wanted to do, to become more competitive from the gate. That was one of our main premises. And then somebody told me, oh, the reason you want to raise the pay for the young ones, because you want cheaper and younger. I go, what the heck is that all about? We're trying to make our teachers competitive. We want to get the best, and you got to offer them money. Being the lowest paid in the region doesn't get you the best teachers. They all leave, the young ones. So that came, I don't know where it came from, and I'm just bringing it out so that everyone understands. That was an unfair narrative, because from the gate we offered top dollar. We started high. And then this negotiation affects the other employee groups, and we raised the lower level of the ESP in times past, not reflecting this administration or your administration currently or ours. In times past, we couldn't give the bottom of our ESP a raise without complaints. But this year, we finally said, you don't forget the complaint. We need to raise all of our employees' salary. That's how that was our posture coming in. But it wasn't received that way initially, as if you needed to negotiate and make a big old fuss to get what you wanted, and you really didn't. But that's what happened, and that was troubling to me. So hopefully in the future, because we've increased we got you guys great benefits. That was an action of the board. We did it all on our own because we wanted to take care of our teachers. Last year we gave you historical raise that had never been done, and this year we even surpassed that. So if we haven't built trust, then there's nothing else we can do to build trust, because we won. I think this whole board went the extra mile, and the proof is in the pudding. So I appreciate the work. I've done this for 4 years.
I remember.
And when it first started, and I know 190 hours every year of negotiation, I understand the IBB process. But from my perspective, the IBB process this time was not honored. And I hope it doesn't continue. Otherwise, we should just can the IBB process. But anyway.
We got the same emails, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
We got a lot of the same emails. The overlay was our idea, and that's what we brought to the table.
Yeah. So, and I just want everybody to understand, whatever was said was not true. This board always wanted to give our teachers the highest salary that we could afford. And I think we did. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, Director Loma. Director Roth.
Thank you. Thank you to both teams for collaborating, as you mentioned. I know there's so much more to this. I know there's so much more to this than compensation, and I appreciate all of the hours and hours that you all put into it. I'm glad that you've ratified this, and that the board presumably will approve of it. And I do want to note, since we didn't read through the whole thing, for folks that now starting in October, plans for retirement have to start happening. So that's a significant change that, aside from compensation, should be noted, I think. And so take a look at that, folks who are thinking about it, because you do have to start earlier, especially for that top 40 that's still existing. But thank you for the work for everybody, and great package. Thank you.
Director Daniels.
I appreciate all of you, year after year, year after year, coming, working to have it work for us, right? We need you, can't do it without you. Grateful for the hours and the time, and I know you hear what you hear, and you know what you hear. You're not crazy in what you hear, so I appreciate you working through it and continuing to stand with us so that we can represent as best as we can to the community. There are no words to express the depths of what you're doing in the community, the heavy lift of taking care of our students and working to take care of yourselves. I'm grateful. Nothing is perfect, but at the same token, it still gives me hope that we can continue to move in the best way possible for our students and our community. Thank you sincerely.
Director Nelson.
I just wanted to also express gratitude to our teaching staff. This board is dedicated to compensating you for the hard work that you do, and since the salary schedule's up on the screen, I'll speak to it briefly. I know President Malpacum was the one that sat down and crunched the numbers, figuring out how we can get that 50,000 number and then the increments that need to happen going forward in the steps and lanes so that we could hit that number. That was our goal. So just thank you, President Malpacum, for doing that heavy lift, especially considering we're volunteers. I am curious, how many hours did IBB end up taking?
It's 67 hours.
Okay, so I know for my part, I would love to be more involved. If we could maybe look at the amount of time, because we are volunteers and we're doing our regular board duties during that process as well, that would allow for the volunteers to be able to participate more. I just see that as personally the limitation of why I can't be as involved as I would like to be. But I am grateful for the team that we have on the district side and Colorado Springs Education Association, that you guys were able to come together and reach an agreement. If you could please bring up the historical document.
On the page, yeah.
I just would like to point out that I would just like to point out that this board last year gave a historical compensation package. And again, this year, we have more than doubled what you can see was the previous highs as far as before last year's, So again, the message that we don't value teachers and that we weren't ever going to take care of them is very disturbing that came across. And I take it personally, and just want to make sure that for the staff that are watching, you guys are of our top priority. I mean, we have it right up here, staff investment. So when you hear things, just maybe reach out and ask us. Consider the source, and also look to the actions that you have seen this board take over the last year and a half. And our actions speak to that we take care of our staff. I don't think you could find something otherwise. So I just would like to end with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Bankus, do you have any thoughts or comments?
Well, the thing about coming in at the tail end is that all of the pertinent points have been made. I'm glad that we have come to such a wonderful agreement with the collaboration that is being shared on both sides and all sides for our staff. And I want to thank all of those who have diligently put their time and their effort to make sure that this is a smooth process and that it's done in plenty of time so that people can make plans and count on what they come back to in the fall. So thank you all.
So thank you, Director Bankus, and I'll just sum it up a little bit. And thanks for all the teams for all the work that you guys put in. Chief Bailey said like 67 hours of time or whatever it is. To me, those last couple of weeks itself felt like 67 hours I spent at Tesla. One evening we were there till 12:30 or 1 o'clock before we got to leave. But it's back and forth conversations that take place, and it's collaborative conversations, and I'm glad that we arrived at a place where this compensation package shows that we value our staff. And as Director Nelson said, we put that in writing behind our wall, we stand behind that we value our staff. And our actions over the past couple of years have indicated that when you look at the last 6 years and the recurring and non-recurring compensation, I'm fully aware that some of the other school districts may offer a little bit more in recurring compensation. We as School District 11 are not in that position because of declining student enrollment. And the next step in the process is with this historic compensation pay raise that we are taking care of our staff, all of us have to collectively lean in to change the narrative of declining student enrollment. And that happens by making sure our kids get a high quality education, and all our staff are doing that currently. We just need to, one of the asks or one of the requests from conversations was intentional and differentiated professional development for our staff. And even that, we insisted that let's put that 2 days of additional professional development for our staff paid on the recurring side, so this can happen consistently over the next several years. The last thing that I would mention on this slide is if you go and look at the very bottom, it shows the total cost of compensation increases, which is $237,237.60, roughly $37 million. When you look at the School Finance Act, I know that the School Finance Act is sending us $1,000 extra per student this year. But because of that declining enrollment averaging, we are getting $13 million in new revenues. So when we are getting $13 million in new revenues, the board has said that we value our staff so much that we are going to almost triple that. I know that some of it is non-recurring compensation built in there too. But that shows the value that we place on our staff. We want to make sure that our staff is taken care of. And in the previous slide, Kathy, if you can go back to that whole summary page, the previous slide, yeah. The resolution captures everything in language. This slide is easier to see as far as the compensation goes. Just the salary schedule and the summary that is there at the bottom pretty much captures everything pertinent to compensation. So if staff wants to quickly look at this, I think all that information in there is accurate. It went through our finance department, so I don't think there is any issues with it. But this is a useful piece of information for our staff if they want to refer to it at some point in time. And that overlay that is up there is going to start our teacher salary at $50,000, one of the highest in the Pikes Peak region. Okay, Fountain Fort Carson might be a little bit higher than that, but Fountain Fort Carson is a all different entity because they get federal money out there. We know that there are considerable teaching vacancies. Superintendent Gall talked about 86 teaching vacancies last year. We are hoping that providing this a livable income for, we've heard over and over again from the teachers that make $41,000, $42,000, $43,000. That's not enough to make ends meet in this economy where we are, and those teachers are working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. After school hours, they're going and taking a second and a third job. And hopefully this provides them at least a little bit of livable income. We increased that first BA1, which was $41,667 to $50,000, $8,300 increase up there. So I appreciate all the work that went into this to get to where we did. And I look forward to, hopefully we established a tradition out there, 13 and 23%. We'll see what the board can do next year to match this type of historic race. With that, seeing no further comments or questions, roll call please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Daniels? Aye. Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
All right,
Director Milhacam?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the board is honored to adopt this resolution 7-0 and put our money where our mouth is in valuing our staff. Thank you.
I totally goofed and forgot to introduce BB as part of the team,
Oh.
and I can't because she's my total counterpart. So I'm sorry, Phoebe, about that.
We're good.
Yeah, thank you.
Good team.
Moving on to the second resolution that is there, this is going to be the resolution. So thank you for all the people, the bargaining team that's up here to all the work that you guys did. Resolution, approval of the agreement between the Board of Education and Education Support Professionals. Director Art, can you please make the motion for action item B2?
I move that the Board of Education approve the agreement between the Board of Education and the Education Support Professionals, Resolution 2023-35.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, I turn it over to Chief Bailey for your presentation on this.
Okay, I will read aloud the compensation that will be afforded the employees. We also work with the Education Support Professionals team, and it was a very collaborative process. Every time we work together, we learn a little bit more about one another, and in all fairness and honesty, in previous years, it has been a little contentious between us, but we really worked hard to really understand and listen to what each other had to bring to the table. So with that being said, compensation, the board provided compensation for our education support professionals, and it starts with effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Education support professional employees will receive one-step movement on the STEP system. This is approximately a 2% increase. Employees maxed on step 25 of the salary schedule will not receive an additional step. Effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year, the district will provide non-recurring 2% payment for education support professionals maxed on step 25. Education support professional employees will receive an across-the-board salary increase recurring of a minimum of 5% effective for the 2023-24 school year. Effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year, the district will revise the salary schedule to start no lower than $15 an hour. In anticipation of the minimum wage increase in 2023, and this revision resulted in various pay increases to all positions within the ESP salary schedule. Board of Education was able to address some market study concerns with the new salary schedule. Education support professional employees will receive a 6% one-time non-recurring compensation payment. The payments will be split and will occur in the fall and spring semesters during the 2023-24 school year and is intended to be para-includable compensation. The district will contribute the employer share of the insurance premium at 75% of the medical buy-up plan premium for the employee-only coverage. The district will contribute the employer share of the insurance premium at 85% of the medical base plan premium for the employee-only coverage. The district will continue to contribute the employer share of the insurance premium at 70% for the employer plus spouse coverage, employee plus spouse coverage, employee plus children coverage, and family coverage for all other premium tiers of the plan. The district will continue to contribute the employer share of para. We also had handbook changes that We have posted, and each president of the employee groups will send that information out to its members. Okay, and I would like to introduce Brenda McKinney.
Yes, ma'am.
Current president of Education Support Professionals, and her president-elect, Kevin Cook. Please come forward and have one.
On behalf of the education support professionals, I am ecstatic to be able to accept this on behalf of them. This is the highest compensation package we have had during my term. So much gratitude, thank you. Again, we have 3 groups that will be really impacted by this. And we hope that really, I hope they're very happy with that. I'm not a person of a lot of words, so with that, I'll turn over to Kevin. But again, thank you so much. I have to thank Chief Bailey, the teams, the collaboration. This year was definitely a positive process, so thank you.
I'm gonna start off by giving a shout out to Cynthia and Scott in the back there.
Yep.
They're also part of our team. We work extremely well with the exec pros. I mean, it really felt like a team, just like Phoebe said. I played sports probably all my life, so you're gonna hear a lot of stuff I say relate to being part of the team. And that's exactly how we handled it as a team, knowing that we're all District 11. And without the kids and the staff, you know, there's no support for the entire district. So we appreciate you. Like she said, this has been the highest compensation I know since I've been here. I'm getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of emails, a lot of calls, a lot of good stuff. So I really appreciate it. Coming in my first year with the insurance getting better and the compensation getting better, that just makes it just a little bit easier on me. Handling calls and things of that nature. I look forward to coming to work and helping everybody out. A lot of people come to me and they say, you know, we got between 1,300 and 1,400 employees. My thought quickly goes to the fact that they also have families, so that number jumps to about 3,000 to 4,000 people that we have to look out for, and you guys do a great job of helping us out with that. So I just want to give you my gratitude and let you know I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Board members' feedback, and I see Director Loma there. Go ahead.
2009, I was fighting for the pay of the ESP because they were always underpaid, I felt, and I'm sure you agree. And I remember I was here at the board dais, and I said, you know what, you have them like bottom feeders, right? And I said that, and then somebody flipped the script on me and said, hey, Director Lowe called DSP bottom feeders. And then I had to go, somebody wanted to fight me. I met with them, you know, I didn't want to fight them, but I met with them and I told them, no, I was fighting for higher salary. I used maybe a wrong descriptive. But I've always felt the ESP were unappreciated by their pay. Not all of them, because some of the other skilled laborers do decent. But then this year, I went to the elementary school, but I seen the teachers' aides and the teachers, you know, and the teacher goes, why can't we pay our assistants, our TAs more money? I go, well, that is harder said than done because we have 3 employee groups, and to increase the lowest paid, you know, bring them up 20%, the other groups would complain in times past. And so that was never touched, it was never broached. You know, we give everybody the same. And so, yeah, you give the higher group the same, but the lower group still stays the lowest and they don't get nowhere. I go, but this is the first year that this has ever been done where this board had the courage to say, no, we're gonna increase the bottom 20%. And if the others don't like it, we didn't say that, but I thought this. If they don't like it, tough. One of the teachers came to me and said, and asked me, why don't you raise it? I go, if you let us, well, I'm part of that. I go, well, then you let them know that we want to raise it, but don't make a fuss about it. Let us do it. And I think I appreciate all the other labor groups for not getting upset over us giving 20% to the bottom, the lowest paid, which is, I think that's close or maybe a little more, because they deserve it. a kindergarten does not know the difference between a teacher's assistant and a teacher. They don't know, and you can't pay these people and keep quality people when you can make more money at McDonald's. It just doesn't work. And I still think we have a long way to go. This is year number one for us to do this, and I think if we can fit it, we wanna continue this trajectory in helping all employer groups, but especially those that need the most help. And so I'm pleased with the contract. I hope you're pleased, and the rest of them. And I just, we're looking forward to a good morale from all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Ott.
Thank you. I want to note to realizing there are many options for people to go out and work elsewhere. That's true for teachers, of course, but also the many ESP education support professionals we have. So thank you for working this out with the district. I'm so pleased that we have been able to adjust. We do those market salary studies, and I think this is at least the second one we've done since I've been here. And things are changing, and we need you, and it's so good that we can recognize you all with various benefits and the increased compensation. So thank you so much for all you're putting into making that happen too. Thank you.
Director Daniels.
What can I say? It's always good to see you guys smile and happy and fulfilled. And I'm grateful that you're sticking in there with us through all of the ups and downs and all of the topsy-turvy things that are transpiring. You're still showing up. And I'm always grateful for that. And I look forward to more. Thank you.
Director Nelson.
I just wanted to say that when you look at, if you could scroll down a little at the following pages, it lists out all of the different positions. And it's pretty amazing to think about how many people are involved in making this district run and how many different positions you represent. And so I'm very grateful for your leadership and for working so well with our team. Thank you to our team for see that we saw improvement in how Meet and Confer went this year. Glad to hear that. And so just as people, if they're curious to see more details, this is a great little chart here that they can look up their specific position and see where they're gonna land potentially. It gives kind of a rough estimate. It doesn't list out every position, but it gives you an idea of the increases from where employees were previously to where they'll be now. And it's pretty amazing to think that we were able to do this. It's very exciting, and you guys very much deserve it. And we went into this with the intention of targeting those closest to the classroom. We're trying to turn around academics, and so there was definitely some intentionality in putting the money where we can towards the classrooms, and then also taking a look at those who are further from the market and their market value. Unfortunately, we can't compete with private sector, so we are very grateful for those who stick around, and just know that we value and appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Jurgensen.
I'll be brief, as I know a lot of things have already been shared. First off, thank you, Brenda, for your tenure in leading ESP. And Mr. Cook, I look forward to working with you as president-elect of the ESP. And as Director Nelson just mentioned, targeted improvements, and thank you for staying with us and for helping kids. And we can't run buildings without you guys. So this is one step closer for you, and we look to do more next year when we can, and as we can, we look forward to doing that. So thank you for being there for me and Confer. I'm glad we had a better year for you, and it's not a us versus them. If you're on the Meet and Confer team, you you're advocating for your ESP team. It's it shouldn't be looked upon as a position that's, you know, different. You're there advocating for your people, and we appreciate that, and we're here advocating for you as well on the other side of the house of responsibility. So thank you for all you do, and I look forward to that continuing to be improved. So.
Director Bankus, do you have any comments?
I know that when I first started to go out and ask in neighborhoods about District 11 and what they would like to see have happen with the new board coming in, and more specifically, why I was running for board and what I would like to see accomplished. And at the top of that list was where we are today. And I am so pleased with all of the effort that has gone in on this particular salary schedule for our educational support personnel. It is a long time coming, and I think that with the smartest people in the room, the plan that's been devised and developed and sustainable is one that honors not only the work of the board, the work of the folks who show up every day and take on the responsibilities that they choose to take on. And as it's been said earlier, there are other places in the market that they can apply and work and perhaps make more money than what they do with us. But their devotion, commitment, dedication to why we are all here, and that's to help support and encourage our kids and one another, brings us to this evening. And I'm so pleased that this is in front of the board and that we can go forward on this solid foundation. Thank you.
So thank you, and I will also summarize some of my thoughts. I'm so enthusiastic and appreciative of what we were able to come up with this negotiations. And Kevin, you said that you've been here for how many years? How long have you been working here?
Going on 19.
Going on 19 years, and when you say in your 19 years that you've been working, this is the highest compensation package that you see a board put out. That is so near and dear to my heart. Personally for me, meeting the needs of the ESP staff is highly critical. I've talked about this time and again from the board dais. I've gone and visited schools and talked to paraprofessionals, and our paraprofessionals are going to go from 1450 to 1722 in this thing. These PEDAs, they do extraordinary amount of work out there, and so many of these people have passion. They want to be right next to our kids and do the heavy lifting when they can easily go across the street to a King Soopers or whatever it is, but they want to come to our schools because they want to take care of our kids. It goes back to the time when I was a child, okay? When I grew up, it was my dad worked in an industry that would translate into an ESP position out here. There was no ESP position out there, and we struggled to make ends meet. And I know the conversations that took place at the kitchen table out there where my dad is trying to balance the thing and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and they were trying to put food on the table and making sure that we have an education. And knowing that in this economy we can do the same thing to you, it is really special to me that we can, and you can provide that feedback that this is the best compensation that we had. In addition to that, we also address the health benefits, and you're going to have a strong health benefits out there. I hope, and I know that we didn't address every one of these areas out there, and some of them may say, okay, I've only got a 5% pay raise and a 6% one-time bonus. But we tried to do the best we can. I think we went close to the classrooms, the positions that are far away from the market, and the positions that there is going to be no position that's less than $50 now. So I hope our staff see that what we did here was you start the reservoir and then I will also join you. And if you can pull that up, back up there to the very top of the page. Yeah.
We need to mention the financial team, or our financial lady, because it was her brainchild. She came in with some great proposals.
Laura Veronic.
Yes, Laura, and I almost forgot. And the ESP needs to know this, the union needs to know this, the exec pros, that she came up with some proposals that made our job a little easier. And we would be amiss if we didn't mention her and that team. And so when you see them, you should buy her a steak, dinner or something, okay?
That's against the rule.
We'll donate us.
Send it to her house.
Acupuncture.
Right, and just like what I talked about for the teacher group, this summary page up there provides all the compensation details in one page summarized out there for our staff to see. So hopefully, if you are looking for a compensation, this page and the salary schedule out there provides all the information that you need. Again, I'm thrilled to vote on this issue, and I hopefully we can provide the same type of support going the bus drivers, the custodial person like Sanders up there, and Cynthia with the paraprofessionals. We were able to address all that with this compensation package. Where there is a will, there is always a way, okay? And we will find that way, but there is only so much we can do with the pot of money that we have. So again, the intent of this board is clear and pure, okay? We can only do so much with the money, and if all of us can collectively lean in and put the district and our students first, then the sky is the limit as far as compensation goes. If we can do this in a declining student enrollment budget, when we are getting $13 million and $37 million we are paying out, how much more can we do if we turn the district around and make it an increasing enrollment district? And this conversation about 20 years, 30 years, it's been declining, and we are here to change that. And it all starts with that belief that we are going to do it, and everybody believing in it. I was watching, I'll say this quickly and call for roll call. I was watching the Nuggets game yesterday, okay? And they said 47 years, they didn't do it. But a group of players came together and believed, and they changed it. And they said no more, and we can say no more. Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Director Benkus?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Milpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
Ayes have it. With a 7-0 enthusiastic vote of support to our education support professionals, we approve this resolution. Thank you. Resolution 2023-36, approval of agreement between the Board of Education and Exec professionals. Director Daniels, can you please make the motion for action item B?
I move that the Board of Education approve the agreement between the Board of Education and the Executive Professionals, Resolution 2023-36.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Chief Bailey? Back to you.
Thank you. All right, I would be remiss if I did not call out the names of your district team that negotiated on your behalf.
Yeah.
So, part of the interest-based bargaining team, we had Aaron Ford from Audubon, David Dubois, principal at Russell, Darren Joyner, area superintendent, Sean Norman, Odyssey campus principal. In addition to Laura Horonic in the finance department, Chris Odom, chief operations officer, and then of course my team who has to duties as assigned, Kevin Willis, Tony Schoen, and Nancy Gallegos. We also sat down with our fellow colleagues, executive professional employees, and here is their package. Effective for the 2023-24 fiscal year, executive professional employees will receive one step movement on the step system. This is approximately a 2% increase. The district will increase the executive professional salary schedule step system with a 5% increase effective for the 2023-24 school year. Executive professional employees will receive a 6% one-time non-recurring compensation payment. The payment will be split and will occur in the fall and spring semesters during the 2023-24 school year and is intended to be para-includable compensation. And I will turn it over to Jim Nason, Principal of Swigert, but also the President for the Executive Professional Employees.
And I will make this very, very, very quick. We have a plaque in our home that says education, enter for the outcome, not the income. But we are here for the income. So I thank you, the board, I thank you, the superintendent, and the district for working with us to provide us with a bump in pay. It's very greatly appreciated. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that feedback too. And I think you are stepping down too from that position.
I am.
And Jeremiah is going to be taking place. Yeah. Thank you.
Do it at school.
Director Jorgensen.
You know, we get to the exec pros and we don't think about the breadth and depth of exec pros in our district as often as we should, I don't think. And we think about, you know, this board, numerous individuals have shared over the past few years how important an effective leader is in a building. You know, we can see a school swing left side of it, and this is not politically, just one side of the pendulum and the other side of the pendulum based on the leader that's in that building. And so, you know, when we look at the, you know, staff who are climbing the ladder to the next level, which is something I never chose to do, nor never want to do. You know, we want to honor that position as well for the dedication to the extra degree, to the doctorate, maybe the master's, all of that. And we really want the effective leaders in our buildings, and we want the effective, you know, downtown admin here effective in supporting the overall mission of the board and Superintendent Gall as well. So this is a good step in that direction. Hopefully this is meaningful for staff that are leading their buildings through turnarounds, through maybe they've inherited a little bit of a mess that they're coming into, and so hopefully this just bodes well for them to stick it out and to be in it for the income and the outcome in that regard. So thank you very much for helping with that this year.
Any other comments from board members? Director Rock.
Yes, I would like to add mine.
Okay, go ahead, Director Backus. Go ahead.
Thank you again for the folks who came together, and again, a recognition of our exec pros who, with their leadership and the skills that they bring, help us to move this district along with the goals that we have stated and with the priorities we have set. Without that leadership and without that support, we would not be where we are sitting today, which is on an upward trend. And I want to say from the very beginning, when I attended my first principals meeting, I felt very welcomed, and that feeling has not changed. I like the relationship that we as the board have with our exec pros, and I see it continuing for the success of all. So thank you.
Director Rock.
Thank you. Just want to make a note of appreciation too. You know, you're kind of working, like you said, with your colleagues. That might be awkward, but I'm glad for the compensation package. I want to note for your group, and I missed it for the ESP, but again, retirement times have moved up, so you do have to decide, certainly in, again, the fall, if you are going to be serious about retiring. And I hope my focus on that is not seen as everybody should go retire, because we need you, we want you, and we appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Director Daniels.
Thank you. Exec pros, do you hear me? Are you out there? I appreciate you all. I thank you for helping us do the heavy lifting, especially with being out in the field, supporting the teachers, the buildings, everything you've done with from top to bottom. You can't list it all. I just need you to know that I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Director Loma.
Everything rises and falls on leadership, and I like leaders that lead from the front, and that's what the exec pros have to do. They should do it. There's a time when you lead from the back, but when you get too comfortable from the back, it's oftentimes because you're trying to protect your job. Leaders need to lead from the front, and they're responsible for the results. And I think if we provide, and that's our job, to provide you everything you need to succeed, because it's unfair if we don't give you everything you need and then ask you to do a job. And one of those things is taking care of your family. And I always consider that we have to make sure they're comfortable at home so they can do a good job at work. And again, I think we've done the best we can. And I hope you can recognize that we appreciate all you guys over there. I really do, because all the pressure's on you. This young man got gray hair when he's not supposed to, right? And that's just part of the job, and it takes a certain individual to do it.
There's a couple there without hair.
Including one
So
next to
anyway,
me.
I wanna thank you guys, thanks to all you guys.
When you don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Okay, Director Nelson.
I just want to also real briefly state similar sentiments that having high quality leadership in a school and here at the downtown office is essential in our efforts to turning around this district. We have still a lot of work to do academically and declining enrollment, and it's because of the efforts that you all are making that we're gonna get there. I have every belief that we will. And, you know, we're bringing in some new initiatives like the Best First Instruction, adopting a student-based budgeting tool, and that's gonna take getting everyone on board with the ideas and the concepts, and that is, we as a board are relying on you, the leadership, to make that happen. And so very grateful for your leadership in our district, so thank you all.
Thank you. So it's all been summarized, and I can just say ditto to everybody that talked about leadership is so critical in our district. I've over and over again said the most critical position in our school district are principals. Principals can make and break a school very quickly. I've seen principals within a year turn a school around, and a lot of times the damage that they caused is takes a lot longer to, I'm talking about the ineffective principals, of which we have none in our school districts. I'm just, but thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you bring. And what Director Art was talking about, the retirement date moving up, the rationale behind that, so our community knows about that, was this is going to let us hire staff earlier in the year, and which happened this year. Our hiring date for most positions, principals, teachers, moved up by 2 months. And that way we are now right at the leading edge of school districts in El Paso County. We are looking at the cream of the crop people that are out there, as opposed to trying to hire in May when the barrel is half empty or most of it is empty, and then we are scraping at the bottom to find the right effective exceptional principal or teacher. So I know that means that some of our staff may have to decide a little bit earlier on the retirement date, but it has its benefit.
I will tell you, it's helped us tremendously. We are down, I think, one position, sped position.
Yeah.
And all our other positions are filled, and it's never been like this.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. That's the exact feedback that we need.
Yeah.
Sometimes we put these new things into motion and action, but is this actually translating into results? You are the boots on the ground. If you come and tell me that that's working,
It's phenomenal by changing that date, and I'm speaking for teachers, but teachers made a huge difference across the board, being able to be out there and beating the bushes, because we know there's not teachers, there is a shortage, but we were able to reach out up in the first of the line. It made a huge difference, so thank you all for that.
first in line, highest pay in El Paso County.
And my teachers don't even know that yet.
Right, exactly. So,
I'll email them tonight.
Exactly. So, yeah. We are going to never take no for an answer for us. We'll always find creative ways. So thank you, and thank you for your service in this capacity as the president. And now you can go back just to your sole role as principal of
It's
Spike.
funny work.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Roll call, please.
Director Benkus?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Moma?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The resolution for the agreement between the Board of Education and Exec has been adopted. So we have.
As I introduce those three, I would like a chance just to close out. As I end this first year, I have never been prouder of a body of work and the collective way that I've seen a team rally around what they all knew, but maybe just needed a small reminder of, which is a shared why, which is our students. The three main initiatives that we used on compensation in our budget this year was to be all in on best first instruction, to define concentric circles around our students, and to eliminate open positions and reinvest in our people and create portfolio solutions for those spaces where we've not been able to hire. All of those were observations that existed when we just flipped the equation and said, what is it that our students need? And not one work group representation came to the table without that new frame of mind. And I think that's why where we are now, and hearing feedback of we've never been able to, this is the largest. We're not sitting on tons of extra money. We're sitting on just a new way of thinking on what is it that a student in a classroom needs every day. Yes, we need our adults to feel like they're a part of those teams, but we have to make investments that we believe will change outcomes for students. That primary if-then statement is the hinge on everything that happens going forward. So many a times I've spoken to both board members and staff members and said, are we brave enough? And I just want to thank you all for being brave enough.
Okay, thank you. And all the staff that are here, part of this, and all the staff that are listening in, I know that today was the last day for elementary school for kids. And I wish all of them a happy summer. Hope you guys have a good break. And if you're working summer bridge, we'll see you there, or otherwise we'll see you back in August. Moving on, there are a couple of policies out here that the board is going to approve. Policy AKB, first is a parent partnership policy. This came as a non-action item and then returned back as, at the work session, there was some revision in the language that was proposed in the work session. It was captured. The board gave thumbs up to AKB 2.2. Director Art had proposed consolidating some of the language, and I think Director Nelson worked on it. Actually, I'll turn it over to Director Nelson. Maybe you can quickly summarize where we are at.
Sure, so I'll just give a real brief recap of how this came about. Our 5E survey data, the board reviewed that at a work session, and it presented a great need for us to increase our engagement of our parents. Out of that work session, there was discussion of what can the board do, and we govern and we create or oversee policy. And so from a board perspective, how can we engage parents? And so I volunteered to just take a look at where we're at currently. I did a lot of research looking at our current parent engagement policy series, KV, for example, and looked at a new version of policy KV that the DAC and BLEH had proposed to the policy committee that is still waiting for further revisions, and we'll definitely take a look again at that in the fall. And then also looking at, other school districts and what do their parent engagement policies reflect. And so how can we just really, again, coming back to, we need to turn around academics, and we're not gonna be able to do it alone. We need parent support in all of it. And so as a district, how can we reevaluate what our core missions are, and just how can we at a foundational level create a policy that will shift our thinking in all that we do is partnering with parents. So that's a brief recap on how the parent partnership policy came about, and then like Dr. Malpakim stated, the board gave a thumbs up to what would be considered policy 2.0 at the work session last week. But then after reflecting on some feedback that Director Ott and others gave during the work session, I went ahead. That night I was tired. It was after 10 o'clock at night, and I didn't have it in me to consider doing any more work on this thing. But then as I went to bed that night, I started thinking about, if we can make this even better, then let's do it, let's put the time in. So spend a little more time on just trying to tighten it up, getting it to be more succinct, and so that's what is reflected in policy 3.0. I believe that protocol would require, after discussion of the policies, for me to make a motion to amend the motion on the table that we adopt policy 3.0 instead of 2.0. So just so the board members are aware of Robert's Rules of Order, what we need to do if we do want to adopt 3.0 instead of 2.0. And 1.0 there is there just for reference of what went into the work session.
Okay, so we don't have a motion on the floor yet, so let Director Jurgensen make that motion. And since the board gave a thumbs up to 2.0, so Director Jurgensen, could you make a motion? I move that, if you can make a motion to adopt AKB 2.0. Okay, and then Director Nelson can amend that motion to, go ahead.
I move that the Board of Education adopt policy AKB 2.0 as approved informally last week, parent partnership.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. So the
Then I'll
AKB
make a friendly
2.0 is
amendment.
there. Are there, yeah, go ahead.
So I'll make a friendly amendment to adopt 3.0.
Second.
I move that we adopt 3.0 as a friendly amendment.
Second?
Second, moved and seconded. So let's, are there any discussions? I'll open the floor for discussions on AKB 3.2. And if you can pull up that AKB 3.2 clean version on the, yes, that's the one. Go ahead, Director Jurgensen.
It basically just, not too many changes as I see, just making things more succinct to Director Ott's mentions the work session last week. So I didn't see anything glaring in this. A couple other, grammatical pieces. Parents are the child's first and most important teacher versus a child's first and most important teacher. Things like that, I don't have any concern with. So it's more concise and cleaned up a little bit, and works for me.
Okay, any further comments before I call for roll call? Director Ott.
Thank you. I just want to note, I appreciate you rewriting parts of it and making it more succinct and less repetitive. Thank you.
Director Loma.
Well, I know I helped a little bit, but you did all the heavy lifting. You're right. So I appreciate that, and I like the words when we got the 7, because it was real wordy, but then with the individual words kind of made it more pleasing to the eye, if you will. And it looks like one little document, but there's a lot of hours there. And so I just want to recognize your work and everything you've done, and so again, just thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Pankas, do you have any comments?
No, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, thank you. And so before I call for a roll call, just briefly, I want to share too some of Director Nelson's comments out there. Parents are a critical component in District 11. We cannot get to where we need to get to without the partnership of our parents. I know our staff work incredibly hard to educate our students in the classroom, but if students are chronically absent in the classroom, or if they are having behavior issues in the classroom, those are environments, those are instances where we need parents' help and support. Some of our schools have watchdogs where dads come and volunteer in schools, and their presence sets a great role model for all the students in the classroom. So having parents in our classrooms by this policy and making this a fundamental policy, it is going to be in the policy A series up there. So this is going to be a fundamental policy that is going to be put out there with all the other fundamental policies out there. Over and over again, sometimes we keep hearing, and we had a legislative session out here with CASB a couple of days back, and when the feedback was given, it was mentioned that sometimes parents' voice is being ignored in school districts. We are putting a stake in the ground and saying parents have a voice in District 11, parents have a choice in District 11, parents are respected in District 11, parents are encouraged to volunteer in District 11, parents are welcome to come and partner with our staff in making their job a little bit easier in the classroom. The 5 essential surveys which provided that feedback was from our teachers themselves and our students encouraging parent participation. So we are welcoming parents to be part of the education of their children. Dr. Loma, do you still have any comments?
Well, I looked at that and I know we have our board priorities, but I would like to see a banner like that, maybe right there behind our superintendent, so I can look at him and then look at our promise to the parents.
Okay, we can consider that. I don't know what happened to all the pictures that were there. It
Well,
got
the bare
removed.
wall.
We did some painting and
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. Okay, roll call, please.
Director Venkis?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
So the AKB policy 3.0 version has been adopted by the board.
Point of order, that was just the amendment.
Oh, that was just the amendment.
Now we gotta vote.
Yeah, that's what you were talking. Okay. So the amendment that was passed as
Now we vote
passed.
for the first.
Okay. Now, can we make, the motion is on the floor?
Yeah, the motion's already on the
Okay.
floor.
So,
And just a quick note, I don't know how to do this.
Okay.
So I can make some notes and you may not see it right away in board docs, but Melissa will be able to fix it. So I'll make some notes as to the new motion and who first and seconds, and then Melissa will have to go in and make those changes for you. That's a little above what I do.
perfect.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Got it.
Everything is captured in video too, so Melissa can go back and take a look at it. Okay, so just to summarize this first, there was a motion made on the floor to adopt policy AKB 2.0, and that was amended that original policy was amended by Director Jorgensen, or was it by Director Loma, to remove that motion and put AKB 3.0. Did I capture that right?
Yes.
Well, not to remove, to amend it to the initial.
3.0, okay.
So now we're voting.
So now we are going to vote on adopting 3.0.
Correct.
Okay, roll call please.
Director Venkis?
Point of clarification, we are now voting on
Adopting,
3.0.
yes, adopting 3.0.
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
So the ayes have it. Policy AKB parent partnership, a fundamental policy in A series, has been adopted by the board. Policy GBEB staff conduct and responsibilities. This also came in front of the board as non-action under the work session. So this has been discussed. We have received several public comments on this policy too. Dr. X, do you have anything additional to add to this one before?
Good evening, President Malpacum, members of the board, Superintendent Gall. We did make changes as suggested by Director Ott. We added the contracts at the end and the cross-reference section at the end, as well as cleaning up some of the language to make it more concise. Those suggestions were made last Wednesday during the work session.
Okay, thank you. With that, any comments from the board on this? Seeing none, roll call please. Yeah.
Who seconded, I'm sorry, who made the motion and
I
seconded?
don't think we had a motion.
Oh, we didn't make a motion again.
Good catch.
I'll move.
Perfect. Director Loma, can you please make the motion for action item B5?
I move the Board of Education adopt policy GBEB, heebity, staff and conduct relationships.
And responsibilities. Second.
Moved and seconded, moved by
And I got those.
Director Loma and seconded by Director Lawson.
Yes.
With that, since the motion has been made, I don't see any board members further want to discuss this, so roll call please. You do want to make it?
Yeah,
Okay,
can I
Go ahead,
actually just,
Director Nelson.
can I just request that Mr. Gall make a statement, because I think this kind of came out of an operational need or an identification of a lack of this policy even being in place. And whereas other school districts have similar policies, can you just speak to that a little?
Yeah, I made a statement last week in regard to a response from a question from a board member, actually ended up in the paper. And I'm not gonna pull the paper up, but this gives the district the ability to actually just be sure that we remove egregious behavior and we have the foundations to be able to discuss where there is questionable behavior, and then to not chase every rabbit down a hole on just this other idea that every intent is illicit by definition. So we think it gives us the guardrails to understand how to hold our staff accountable when bad things come to light, but to assume that every day our staff are engaging with students and each other with all the right reasons.
Great,
So we appreciate the opportunity to have this in place.
thank you.
Thank you. With that, roll call please. Okay.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Milpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
The ayes have it. The staff conduct and responsibilities policy has been adopted by the board. We have one non-action item, which is a policy JFBA, JFBB, which is school choice, open enrollment and transfers. And the reason that it's coming as non-action in the special meeting is that this policy has to be adopted by the end of the school year, so it is ready to go in August. And since we have officially only one board meeting scheduled, which is June 14th, if the board, after any suggestions and reviews or whatever it is, it will come as action on June 14th. But I'll turn it over to you first.
Thank you, President Malcolm. Policy JFBA, JFBB, and regulation JFBA, JFBB-R, school choice, open enrollment, and transfers are being revised to align to state law and new practice. The revisions to policy include details on the new online choice application process that is the responsibility of our district's centralized enrollment office. There is an added section aligned to recent changes in state law for special education students and students with 504s, stating that choice applications will be conditionally accepted pending a review to ensure that schools can meet the needs of students. And a new section is also added related to universal preschool. Preschool will be managed by the Colorado Department of Early Childhood, and the D11 will offer supplemental preschool enrollment support. The revisions to the regulation include a new introduction section defining the roles and responsibilities of our central enrollment office, a significant change requiring school principals or designees to provide the enrollment office with the number of spaces they have available per grade level versus the old practice of reviewing each individual choice application. Using this information from the principals, the enrollment office will place students in available spaces based on state law and board policy. Finally, a revision was made to the priority open enrollment choice window. The window will now be open from December 15th through February 15th, where previously it was open from November 1st through February 15th. Chief Kaliki and Director of Enrollment Andrews are present this evening, should you have any questions.
Thank you, and thank you for being here late in the evening. So, Director Nelson, I see you first.
Just a comment that I spoke with a member of the policy committee, and he stated that some of the updates here are just to reflect what's currently being practiced versus with the new enrollment office, that we just need to go back and kind of update policy. Just making that clear.
Any further questions or comments on this policy? Ms. Andrews.
Yeah, I'll just comment for the board that this is the natural evolution, but also reflective of some of the feedback that we've seen over this first year of centralized enrollment, to include ensuring that we have the right protections for our families with special education, and how we're modifying the world of universal pre-K. And so we're very proud of the time for this to happen, and it sets us up for a strong enrollment process next year.
Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments, usually I will ask a thumbs up to move it to consent. But since today we didn't have any public comments, I'm going to let this come back as action. So if public wants to provide a comment next week, or do whenever it is June 14th on this policy, okay, before the board adopts it. So this will return as action item at the next board meeting.
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at the end of the meeting calendar review. So next week, we do not have any board meeting scheduled. Next week is the Memorial Day week. So I know that some board members are going to be out of town, so we don't have anything on the board agenda next week. On June 7th, we will have a work session. Off the top of my head, the two agenda topics at least is ESSER update for the board, and then also panorama survey results, student survey results are coming in front of the board. There could be one or two other items that are going to wrap up the year. I can't recall what they are from the top of my head. And Wednesday, June 14th, we have a regular board meeting to wrap up things for the year, and hopefully at that time also, or around that time sometime, we can schedule the superintendent's evaluation too. I know that Director Jorgensen is involved in that.
He'll have it this week.
Oh, he will have it. Okay, so you heard that from Superintendent Goss. His self-evaluation will come to the board sometime by the end of this. Go ahead.
So Superintendent Gall will have his self-evaluation to me by Thursday. I'll spin that around with Dr. K to get that to you guys, as well as your individual plans that you'll complete. And then we'll, with the deadline of, just by whatever the date is at the end of next week, June 2nd, whatever that time is, we can try to have a quick turnaround, give Dr. K time to process and our guy to debrief it and have it ready for us to talk about. So we'll see that on Saturday.
One revision that I do want to say, and Dr. K you can also chime in on this. After talking to Superintendent Gall, there was a conflict of interest with Dr. K being responsible for his superior's evaluation, and we didn't want that. So I think we are going to have Dr. Walter Cooper come in, and he's going to be involved in. Dr. K, is there anything you want to add from what I said? That's the, right now, the way the process is going to work out. Dr. Walt Cooper is going to step into your role, and you are not going to be involved in collecting all the board member evaluations and summarizing it and all those things.
That's correct. And based on Dr. Cooper's recommendation, we'll still stay with the same format and the same tool, but he'll be collecting that data and analyzing it.
Yep, and Dr. Cooper will be there whenever we schedule that superintendent's evaluation. That'll happen in executive session most likely. And Dr. Cooper will be there to come and facilitate that process and provide us the information that was gathered.
Thank you for clarifying. Sorry about that.
Director Nelson, you had a question?
Yeah, just can you repeat when the board members' part is due? What that due date is?
Yes, let me look at the calendar. Because I want Dr. Cooper to have time to put it all together.
Or if you wanna just email us and
Yep.
let us know, that's fine.
I'm hoping by the second, maybe last date, I'll check with Dr. Cooper about maybe the 6th. So we at least have a week before the 14th to wrap it up.
Okay. So board members will have, if it is coming tomorrow, which is the 24th, tomorrow, 25th, which is coming on the 25th, then board members will have at least 10 days to reflect on Superintendent Gall's self-evaluation and complete the rubric from your part. Okay, you will have about 10 days to complete it, and then that will give Dr. Cooper time to gather all his information and that. Okay, Director Art, you had a question?
No, I was just gonna clarify that if the self-evaluation was available this week, then we'd have it this week.
Yep,
So I
that's fine.
appreciate you just outlined that.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, with that, seeing no further conversations on the calendar, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move the Board of Education adjourn.
Say it, Director Art, made a motion. Cassie?
Director Bengus? Aye. Director Daniels?
Director Daniels?
Adjournment.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Loma?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Nelson?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are officially adjourned at 7:37 PM. That's early for a board meeting.